What if the moment she walked away wasn't your heartbreak, but your awakening? Not the end of the story, but the start of your legend. Sit with that. Because here's the brutal truth. She didn't expect you to rise. She expected you to fall apart. She expected you to self-destruct, spiral into your feelings, maybe even come crawling back. That's the game. That's the script. But what if you flipped it? Most men waste their pain. They drown in it. They chase, they plead, they look for closure. But Stoics, we do it different. Pain becomes precision, emotions become fuel, and silence. Silence becomes the loudest message she'll ever hear. You don't text, you don't call, you don't explain. You vanish. You disappear from her life and reappear in your purpose. You don't react. You rebuild. Slowly, relentlessly, unapologetically. She'll regret it, but not when you're emotional. She'll regret it when you become emotionally unavailable, when your absence becomes heavier than your presence ever was, when she realizes you weren't the weak one. You were the one holding it all together. The moment you stop needing her is the moment she starts needing you again. And by then, it's too late. This isn't about being cold for the sake of ego. This is about stepping into a level of discipline and control that makes her question everything. You don't prove her wrong with words. You prove her wrong by vanishing into excellence. You rise quietly, stoically, and when she sees you again, if she does, you're a stranger, a man she can't manipulate, a man she can't read, a man she can't reach. If you're done being broken, if you're ready to become untouchable, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I rise from silence. Now let's begin. Number 1. Silence is power. She didn't leave because she thought you were weak. She left because she assumed you wouldn't change, that you'd break down. Try to win her back. Fall into the same emotional loops you always did. She didn't fear your tears. She expected them. That's why silence is the most dangerous move you can make, because it's not what she saw coming. When you go silent, you shift the dynamic. You stop feeding the emotional drama. You stop validating her decision. You stop giving her proof that she still matters to you. And in that silence, she loses control. She starts thinking, wondering, questioning. Why isn't he chasing me? Did he replace me already? Was I not as important as I thought I was? You're not playing games. You're asserting control, emotional control. And that's the foundation of Stoicism, mastering yourself regardless of external chaos. When you cut off communication, it's not just about withholding words. It's about sending a message that screams, I don't need you to heal. And that gets in her head. Let her scroll through your profile and find nothing. Let her check her phone and see 0 missed calls. Let her sit with the silence she created. Because here's what most men don't understand. When she walked away, she expected noise. Prove her wrong by giving her nothing. That's when the regret creeps in, not when you fall apart, but when you fall silent. Silence is a mirror. It forces her to see her own decisions without your distraction. It makes her confront the reality she tried to avoid. And the man who can master silence? He owns the room without saying a word. He controls the game without playing it. Number 2, feel the pain, then master it. You can fake strength online. You can post gym selfies, new outfits, fake smiles. But when you're alone, when the silence hits, when the nights stretch long, that's when it creeps in. The pain, the betrayal, the hollow pit in your chest that reminds you she's gone. Most men try to outrun it, numb it, distract it. But you don't run. You stand in the fire and you feel every inch of it. Pain is your teacher, the best one you'll ever have. It shows you what you ignored, what you allowed, where you were too soft, where you gave too much. It breaks your illusions and forces you to confront the raw truth. She was never yours to begin with. You were just borrowing her attention, and when she pulled it back, you crumbled, but not anymore. This is where you get strong, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. Feel it fully. Let it rip through you, not to wallow, but to study it, journal it, lift through it, build through it. You'll start to realize something dark and powerful. The more pain you master, the less anyone can use it against you. And eventually, what once broke you becomes the reason you're unbreakable. She thought losing her would destroy you. She thought she was your source of joy, confidence, meaning. But when you rise from that pain, quietly, brutally, patiently, you become something else entirely. You become a man forged in fire, one she doesn't recognize, one she can't handle, and maybe one she'll secretly wish she never lost. Number 3, attraction through absence. You think chasing her shows her how much you care. You think checking her stories, liking her posts, sending "just wanted to see how you're doing" messages will somehow remind her of what you had. But let me tell you something brutal. Presence doesn't attract her anymore. Absence does. Women don't crave what's available. They crave what's uncertain, what's rare, what's missing. When you vanish, fully, silently, strategically, you trigger something primal. Not consciously, not immediately, but deep down, the part of her brain that hates being ignored starts to panic. Why isn't he reacting? Why isn't he showing me he still cares? That's when the doubt sets in. Your absence makes her replay everything she said, everything she did. She'll start rewriting the narrative in her head. Maybe you didn't love her as much as she thought. Maybe she misjudged you. Maybe you've already moved on. And that maybe, that's powerful, because attraction doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in uncertainty. Stop posting cryptic captions. Stop fishing for her attention. Go dark. Go cold. Go invisible. When she can't read you, she can't predict you. And when she can't predict you, you dominate the psychological space in her mind. She starts filling in the blanks with fantasy, wondering who you're with, what you're doing, if you're even thinking about her. And the best part, you're not. You're building, you're moving, you're leveling up in silence. The man who disappears with dignity becomes unforgettable, not because he made noise, but because he left a void, one no other man can fill the same way. Number 4, destroy the fantasy. She walked away because she thought she knew how this would end. You'd chase, you'd fold, you'd cry, collapse, maybe glow up for a week or two, but eventually crawl back with the same energy she got bored of. That's the fantasy playing in her mind. That's what gives her peace. The belief that no matter how far she walks, you'll still be right there, waiting. Your job now is to burn that fantasy to the ground. The most powerful revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming unrecognizable, not out of bitterness, out of transformation, cold, focused, untouchable. You don't just level up, you mutate. You become a version of yourself she wouldn't know how to manipulate, charm, or walk away from. Because he's not chasing love, he's chasing legacy. When she checks in, because eventually they always do, let her find a man whose eyes don't hold softness anymore. Let her hear a voice that doesn't tremble, doesn't ask, doesn't seek anything. Let her see a man so in control of himself, so deeply locked into purpose, that he doesn't even blink at the sight of her. That's when the panic hits. That's when she realizes the man she left behind doesn't exist anymore. You kill the fantasy by killing the old version of you, the one that over-explained, the one that tolerated disrespect, the one that tried too hard to be enough for someone who never saw his value. That version, dead, buried, gone. Now you don't try to show her what she lost. You become someone so powerful, so evolved, that the loss becomes undeniable. No text required, no post, just presence. Number 5. Discipline over emotion. Emotion is her battlefield. If she can get you emotional, she can control the board. That's why she'll test you, go cold, post thirst traps, date someone new fast. She's not trying to move on. She's trying to see if you will crack. And most men do. They spiral, get angry, get desperate, start talking about loyalty and how much they meant it. But none of that matters, because in her world, emotion equals weakness, and weakness doesn't attract her. Power does. This is where you shift. From emotional reactivity to cold discipline. You don't respond to her bait. You don't comment on her new relationship. You don't send her a playlist of sad songs. You get up, you shut your mouth, you go to work. Discipline is the Stoic's weapon. It's boring, brutal, and beautiful. And it's the exact thing that will separate you from every other man she's ever known. You build a new routine that leaves zero room for her. You train harder, wake up earlier, grind in silence, stack wins, stack money, stack muscle. Let your emotion fuel you behind the scenes, but never broadcast it. Because the man who can master his impulses, who can feel everything and still stay the course, is the man no one can break. Not her, not anyone. Let her guess what you're feeling. Let her try to figure out if you're hurting. You are. But you're not controlled by it. You've chosen discipline over chaos, focus over feelings, purpose over pain. And that choice? That's what makes you dangerous. Number 6. Upgrade everything. The version of you she walked away from wasn't useless. He was just unfinished. Maybe you were too available, too soft, too reactive. Maybe you hadn't fully tapped into your power yet. But now you rebuild from the ground up. Not to impress her, but to evolve past her. You stop asking why she left and start asking why you settled. Everything gets upgraded. Your body? No more excuses. You train like a savage. You eat like a machine, not for aesthetics, for discipline, for control. Your finances dialed in. Hustle becomes habit. Your time ruthlessly protected. No more wasting energy chasing approval. You start building a life so high level, she wouldn't even know how to step into it anymore. And here's where the psychology flips. The more you improve, the more she declines. Not because you wished it, but because she's watching you become everything she thought you'd never be. The success, the attention, the confidence, it all hits harder when it comes after rejection. You're not flexing, you're ascending. And she's still stuck in old patterns, wondering how she lost the man who now has options she'll never touch. The greatest revenge isn't showing her you're fine. It's becoming so elevated that she doesn't even qualify anymore. She might reach out, she might orbit, but by then, you've outgrown the entire situation. Your standards are higher, your mindset is colder. You're not chasing anymore, you're choosing, selectively, powerfully, quietly. Upgrade everything, not for her, not for anyone, for you. Because the man who refuses to stay average after heartbreak, that man becomes unstoppable. Number 7. The void she can't fill. She left thinking she'd find better. Someone who listens more, smiles more, texts back faster. Someone who gives her that instant dopamine hit without the complexity you carried. But here's the part she never saw coming. She's not going to find you again. Not your energy, not your intensity, not your fire. She'll go from guy to guy trying to replicate the feeling, but it won't work. Because you weren't just a boyfriend, you were a storm. And now that you've leveled up and removed the chaos from your spirit, you've become a void she can't replace. At first, she'll enjoy the peace, the simplicity, the comfort, but then, slowly, boredom creeps in. She misses the unpredictability, the edge, the way you challenged her, forced her to grow, even if she didn't realize it at the time. And that's when the memories start to feel heavy, not sweet. Heavy. Because she didn't just lose a man, she lost an experience, a vibration, a standard that no one else measures up to. This is the paradox. She left because you were hard to handle. But now she can't handle the fact that no one else has that effect on her. She wanted a man who was easier. She didn't realize that easier means forgettable. And you've become unforgettable through your absence, your growth, your cold evolution. Let her miss you. Let her try to fill the space with someone safer. You're not safer. You're rare, and rare can't be replaced. You've become a ghost with gravity, a memory with weight, and no matter how far she runs, you'll be the one comparison she can't escape. Number 8. Emotional control is magnetic. The more you react, the more power you give away. That's the truth. Every angry message, every late-night call, every emotional outburst just confirms what she already thinks, that she still owns your mind. But the man who controls his emotions, who doesn't flinch, who doesn't chase, beg, or explode, that man becomes magnetic. There's a pull to emotional control most people can't explain. It's not arrogance, it's not indifference, it's command, it's presence. When you're in a room and you don't need attention, but still get it, that's power. When she tests you and you don't blink, don't respond, don't fold, that's dominance. And deep down, she feels it. Women are biologically wired to respond to strength, and nothing screams strength louder than self-mastery. When you're in control of your emotions, you control the frame. You stop reacting to her world and start pulling her into yours. And it's not just her. Everyone around you feels it. Your boys respect you more. Strangers treat you differently. Why? Because you've stopped leaking energy. You've stopped being predictable. You've become grounded, solid, stoic. She'll remember the emotional version of you, the one who used to overtalk, over-explain, over-feel. And now, you're silent, measured, powerful. That contrast doesn't just confuse her, it attracts her. And the crazy part, you didn't do it to win her back. You did it to win yourself back. That's what makes it irresistible. Control isn't about hiding emotion. It's about directing it. You use it to fuel your growth, not to beg for her validation. You become the calm in every storm, and people can't look away from that. Number 9, let her watch you win. Don't block her. Don't delete her. Don't try to erase the past. Let her watch. Let her see exactly what she walked away from, not through petty posts or revenge-fueled flexing, through undeniable, unstoppable progress. Winning doesn't need an announcement. It echoes through everything you do. Your glow-up isn't just physical, it's mental, financial, spiritual. You level up so hard, the only thing left for her to do is sit back and watch. She expected you to vanish, maybe even fall off completely. That's why your silence hits harder when it's paired with success. It's not just that you're quiet, it's that you're evolving while being quiet. She scrolls through your updates, pretending not to care, but every story she sees, every milestone you hit, it eats at her. Slowly, quietly, constantly. You've become a walking reminder of what she gave up. And the most dangerous part? You're not even doing it for her. You're not trying to make her jealous. You're not seeking her approval. You're simply becoming. And that indifference, that's what destroys her. You're not the same man anymore. You've stopped playing her game and started building your own empire. And now she's on the outside looking in, watching a man she can't reach, can't predict, and probably can't handle anymore. This is the twist. By not trying to prove anything, you prove everything. She'll never admit it. But deep down, she'll wish she stayed. Not because you needed her, but because you clearly never did. Number 10. You don't want her back. This is the part no one warns you about, the part after the glow-up, after the silence, after the cold self-discipline and massive transformation. She comes back, maybe with a message, maybe with a memory, maybe with a fake just checking in, and suddenly you're faced with the version of her you once would have given anything for. But now you see her clearly. No more fantasy, no more pedestal, just a girl who didn't have the vision to stay. You realize something heavy. You don't want her back, not because you're bitter, because you're better, because everything you built in her absence gave you clarity. You see what you tolerated, you see who you were, and that man, he doesn't exist anymore. The woman who left him no longer qualifies for the man you've become. You don't hate her, you just don't need her. That's real power. That's what Stoicism is all about. Not pretending you feel nothing, but feeling everything and still choosing your peace over her presence. She left thinking she could come back to the same old dynamic. But she's not just facing rejection, she's facing irrelevance. You gave her one shot and she threw it away. And now you've evolved past the point of even considering her part of your future. You don't circle back. You don't reopen closed doors. You don't shrink to fit someone's comfort zone. You've built a life that she no longer fits in, and that realization, that's what breaks her. Because regret hits the hardest when the door is still visible, but permanently locked. You started this journey heartbroken, confused, maybe even desperate, and that's okay. Every strong man was once weak. Every Stoic was once reactive. But now, you're different. You've seen what silence can do, what discipline builds, what emotional control commands, and most of all, you've seen the power of detachment, the ability to walk away and not look back. She'll regret leaving. That's almost guaranteed. But that's not the point. The point is, you won. Not just in status, not just in looks, but in freedom. You're no longer chained to what could have been. You're living in what is. And what is powerful, focused, unstoppable. You've become the man who doesn't need validation, who doesn't beg for love, who doesn't chase anyone because he's too busy becoming everything he once thought he needed someone else to complete. Let her regret it. Let her wonder. Let her watch. Because by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too far ahead to care. Not bitter, not cold, just gone. If you felt this message, if you're ready to walk into your next chapter like a ghost in control of fire, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. I walk forward, alone, but never lost. Thanks for watching Stoic Blessing, where pain becomes power, silence becomes strength, and men become unshakable. Until next time, stay cold, stay focused, and never forget, you are the blessing they'll regret losing.